It all started on a Saturday, the kind of Saturday that feels like it could last forever. The sort of day where the world seems to move a little slower, and you can almost hear the house breathing as it settles into the weekend. It was a morning as normal as toast, plain, simple, and comforting. The kind of breakfast that doesn't ask for much, just a bit of butter and maybe a sprinkle of salt if you're feeling fancy. My name is Arthur, and I live in a little wonky house with creaky floors and rattling windows. It's the sort of place that has character, where every floorboard has a story, and every window lets in a draft and a bit of adventure. That morning the sun was streaming in, painting golden stripes across the living room. My dog Gromit was snoozing on the rug, his paws twitching as if he was chasing something in his dreams. I had a plan, finally fix the damp wall in the basement, a job I'd put off for ages. It was one of those tasks that always seemed less urgent than it really was, but today felt like the day to tackle it. Little did I know that wall was hiding the biggest secret you could imagine. Not just a bit of mold or a leaky pipe, but something that would change my Saturday and maybe my whole life. The basement was my workshop, filled with old wood, earth, and my half-finished self-buttering toast machine. There were jars of screws, piles of blueprints, and inventions that never quite worked the way I wanted. I gathered my tools and headed downstairs, Gromit close behind, his nose twitching with curiosity. He always knew when something interesting was about to happen. I put on my goggles, feeling a bit like an explorer, and gave the wall a good whack with the hammer. The sound echoed through the basement, sharp and promising. Plaster crumbled away, revealing old bricks. Bricks that looked like they'd been there for 100 years, maybe more. As I worked, I noticed something odd, a hollow sound behind the bricks. It was subtle at first, but unmistakable, like a secret knocking from the other side. Thump, thump, thud. A different, emptier sound than the solid thwack of brick. It made my heart beat a little faster. Curiosity took over. I tapped the bricks again. It was definitely hollow. My mind raced with possibilities. Hidden rooms, forgotten treasures, or maybe just a mouse's secret tunnel. I forgot about the damp patch and focused on the mystery. The urge to discover what was behind that wall was too strong to ignore. Gromit sensed my excitement and started sniffing at the base of the wall, his tail wagging in anticipation. He was always my partner in adventure. I chipped away more plaster, the hole growing bigger with every swing. Dust floated in the air, catching the sunlight in little golden motes. The job was no longer about repairs, it was about discovery. I set my tools aside and leaned in, peering into the growing gap. I wondered what could be hidden behind a wall in my own basement. Was it something left by the house's previous owners, or something even older? The air felt charged with possibility, as if the basement itself was holding its breath, waiting for me to uncover its secret. Gromit's tail wagged with real purpose, his eyes bright and eager. He could sense that something extraordinary was about to happen. Something extraordinary was waiting just beyond that wall, and in that moment, my perfectly normal Saturday became anything but ordinary. My heart raced, pounding in my chest as I stared at the wall before me. Was it possible? A hollow wall in my basement? One I'd never noticed before, despite all the years spent down here tinkering and storing old boxes? I set aside the hammer, hands trembling, and carefully chipped at the mortar with a chisel, each tap echoing through the silent basement. Gromit watched, nose twitching, his eyes wide and full of curiosity, eager for the reveal and sensing the tension in the air. After what felt like an eternity, a brick finally came loose, shifting with a gritty scrape. I pulled it free and peered into pitch blackness, my breath catching as I tried to make out what lay beyond. Cool, ancient air drifted out, a smell of deep earth and time, as if the wall had been hiding secrets for generations. This was no ordinary hidden space. It felt like the threshold to another world, untouched and mysterious. I grabbed my hammer and widened the hole, coughing as dust filled the air, swirling in the beam of my flashlight. With a final crash, a section of wall tumbled inward, bricks and mortar scattering across the floor in a cloud of debris. A doorway appeared, dark and inviting. I stood back, stunned, my mind racing with possibilities. Who would build a secret doorway and seal it up so completely? What could be hidden behind it, and why had it been forgotten? I grabbed a torch, its beam cutting into the darkness, illuminating only the first few feet of the unknown beyond. Gromit pressed close, his tail wagging with anticipation, ready for whatever adventure lay ahead. I stepped forward, boots crunching on rubble, each step echoing in the newfound silence. The torch revealed not a room, but a tunnel, carved from solid rock, leading deep beneath my house, its walls rough and ancient. My mind spun with questions. Who had built this? Where did it lead? Was it safe to continue? Gromit and I exchanged a look. There was no turning back. The unknown beckoned and curiosity outweighed fear. I took a deep breath and stepped into the tunnel, feeling the weight of history and mystery pressing in around us. The adventure had truly begun, and with every step, the secrets of the wall and what lay beyond drew us deeper into the unknown. For a moment I hesitated. Should I call someone or just have a cup of tea? The familiar comfort of home tugged at me, but the unknown beckoned even more strongly. My heart pounded with a mix of excitement and nerves, as if I stood on the edge of a dream. But curiosity won. I stepped through the opening, Gromit at my side, both of us drawn forward by a sense of adventure that was impossible to resist. The tunnel floor was smooth, ancient stone, worn down by countless footsteps over the ages. Each step echoed softly, as if the stones themselves remembered every traveler who had come before. My torch revealed carefully carved walls, tool marks still visible. The craftsmanship was astonishing. Each groove and line told a story of hands long gone, working in the flickering light of their own torches. The tunnel curved into darkness, silent except for our footsteps. The air was cool and carried a faint, earthy scent, untouched by the world above. It felt like stepping out of time, as if we'd crossed a threshold into a forgotten era. After about 50 feet, the tunnel opened up, and we paused, breathless with anticipation. My torch beam swept across a vast cavern, the light barely reaching the far walls. Shadows danced and retreated, revealing glimpses of something extraordinary. In the middle, rising like stone mushrooms, were buildings, small stone houses with dark doorways, clustered together as if for warmth in the endless night. I realized I was standing on the edge of a hidden underground city, a place untouched for centuries. Maybe longer. The silence was profound, the air cool and still. It felt as if the city itself was holding its breath, waiting for us to take the next step. Gromit pressed close, both of us awestruck, our eyes wide as we tried to take in the impossible scene before us. This was no ordinary discovery. It was as if we had stumbled into a legend, a secret world hidden beneath our feet. I felt a shiver of wonder and disbelief, my mind racing with questions about who had built this place and why it had been forgotten. The city waited, silent and mysterious, its secrets hidden in the shadows and the silence. Every step forward was a step into the unknown, each moment filled with both fear and excitement. We pressed on, deeper into the heart of the lost city, ready to uncover whatever mysteries lay ahead. I stood in awe, my torch barely piercing the darkness. The city was built of dark stone with narrow streets and low doorways. Gromit stayed close, sensing the age and mystery of the place. We explored cautiously, peering into empty stone houses. The craftsmanship was remarkable. No mortar, just perfectly fitted stones. In a larger building I found a circular stone table surrounded by stools. The table was smooth, worn by centuries of use. Above, the cavern ceiling was carved with faint star patterns. In one house I found simple clay pots, miraculously whole. Another room held flint arrowheads and stone axes, neatly arranged. It was a snapshot of a lost world, frozen in time. I felt like a time traveler intruding on a vanished civilization. The city was a silent echo of lives long gone. I tried to imagine the people who lived here. Artists, astronomers, survivors. The star map on the ceiling showed their longing for the sky. Maybe they hid here from disaster above, a flood, a war, or a changing world. This city was a sanctuary, not just a home. I pictured voices, laughter, and the glow of firelight in the central cavern. They adapted to darkness, farming mushrooms and drawing water from a spring. They were resourceful, building a sustainable world underground. Their story was one of resilience and hope. But why did they leave? Did the danger pass, or did something else drive them away? The empty streets held a sense of loss and wonder. I realized I had awakened a marvel, hidden for centuries. Each room offered a new clue. One had walls covered in clay and charcoal drawings, people fleeing storms descending underground. Their history was painted for future generations. Another room was a workshop, filled with half-finished tools and flint chips. It felt as if the craftsman had just stepped out. The most mysterious room was hidden behind a rockfall. Inside, the walls were carved with rows of strange symbols, a stone library. It was their language, their record of knowledge. I couldn't read it, but I knew it was important. Down here, I was an explorer, piecing together a lost story. Every artifact was a link to the past. I knew I couldn't keep this secret. The city belonged to history, not just to me. My solitary exploration was over. It was time to tell the world. Climbing back to my basement felt surreal, as if I'd returned from another world. Sunlight seemed impossibly bright after the city's darkness. I'd been gone for hours, but it felt like a lifetime. My first call was to the local museum. At first, Professor Albright didn't believe me, but soon she and her team arrived. They were stunned by the discovery, moving with reverence through the tunnels. Powerful lights revealed the city in all its glory. News spread quickly. My house was suddenly famous. Reporters and TV crews crowded outside. I became the man who found a lost city. The attention was overwhelming, but I felt proud. The discovery would change our understanding of the past. The experts worked tirelessly, documenting every detail. The city's secrets began to unfold. My quiet life was transformed forever. I realized I'd uncovered something truly extraordinary. The world would never see my basement the same way again, and neither would I. The discovery transformed our town. Tourists arrived from everywhere, eager to glimpse the Derwent underground city. The museum set up an exhibition with photos and artifacts. The local economy boomed, hotels filled, cafes bustled, souvenir shops thrived. The city became our pride and joy, uniting the community. Archaeologists worked for years, uncovering the city's ancient secrets. They learned the people fled a great flood and survived underground for generations. My house was bought by the Historical Trust, and I moved nearby. I kept a special key, visiting the city with Professor Albright after hours. We'd stand in the quiet darkness, marveling at the star-carved ceiling. The city was a place of wonder, waiting centuries to be found. And now, it belonged to everyone. It's amazing how one ordinary Saturday changed everything. Before, my life was predictable, just me, my dog, and my inventions. The discovery woke up my sense of adventure. It taught me the world is full of hidden wonders if you're curious enough to look. Now I share the story with school children, encouraging them to explore. Adventure isn't always about far-off places, sometimes it's in your own basement. My greatest discovery wasn't an invention, but a doorway to the past. The underground city taught me to respect history and human resilience. Their story is a powerful reminder of what people can achieve. Standing in their silent city, I felt connected to the long chain of human history. My story is simple, a man, his dog, and a damp wall, but it's also about the magic of curiosity and the wonders waiting to be found. All it takes is the courage to look beyond the obvious, and to pick up a hammer.